Are you wondering if you should stick around in your relationship if there is only a modicum of change? A modicum of change is a very small amount of change. Should you stick around? Are things ever going to change drastically? Are you going to see big changes all at one time? Like, what should you do in a situation like this? Now, I get questions asked to me like this often by my friends, my family, my clients. They come to me like, you know what, he's not changing as fast as I want him to, as fast as I need him to. She's not changing as fast as I need her to, as fast as I want her to. Should I actually stick around? Now, here's two things that I say to my clients. The first thing is, I cannot make the decision for you to leave or to stay. That is something that you have to decide on because it is something that you have to live with. I do not have to live with your choices or your decisions. So you have to decide that. What I am going to help you do, which is point number two, what I'm going to help you do is to come to a decision, but the ultimate decision is for you to make. I'm going to point out what you're doing right, what you're doing wrong, what your spouse is doing right, what your spouse is doing wrong. And with all of that information coupled with stories, examples, worksheets, homework, etc. All of this stuff coupled together, you will have to decide if the relationship is worth fighting for or if it is time to give up and walk away. So the question remains, should you, yes, you, stick around if there is only a modicum of change in your relationship that you see because you know that things need to change, but you want them to change more rapidly? Should you stick around or should you walk away? My answer is to stay. Here's why. Because, first of all, I'm only telling you to stay if there is no type of abuse, because I don't believe in any type of abuse. And then your deal breakers. So if those things are intact, they're not being violated in any shape, form, or fashion, then I would suggest that you stay. Here's the reasons why. The first reason why I believe that you should stay is because each of you have come from different environments. You grew up in two different worlds, either literally or figuratively. You grew up in two different households and two different environments. And so because you guys come from two different environments, you're likely to think about things differently. Not wrong, just different. So that's the first reason and the first thing that you should actually think about. You know what? My environment was not his environment, or his environment was not my environment, right? So that's the first thing. The second thing that I want you to think about is, besides the fact that you guys grew up in two different environments, you also have different different ways of looking at things. Different ways of looking at things, whether right, wrong, the things that actually annoy you, that can get on your nerves, but also that show up in under these what I like to call unspoken rules. So you don't know that the person is breaking the rule because you don't even realize that this is one of your rules until it's broken. And then after that rule is broken, then you have to go back and kind of do some quote unquote damage control. And it's because you never talked about it before, which is understandable because you never needed to talk about it, but also because it wasn't on the forefront of your brain as one of the hugest or biggest things to worry about, to say, you know what, this is a deal breaker. So the unspoken rules that you don't even realize that you have until somebody breaks them. So for example, maybe you guys go on vacation, right? And your ideal of what you want your spouse or partner to do is different from what they actually do. So without you guys having a conversation about it or anything, then something happens. So for example, you're at your family's house and your spouse come with you. So you guys are there, you decide to spend the night, and because you guys had to fly in, it was just a long it took a long time to get there with the traveling, right? And trying to just get settled. Now you're jet lagged, you're just tired, but you decide to get up because it's your family. You want to spend as much time as you can with your family and everything, but your spouse decides to sleep in a bit longer. And you're wondering, how come he or she didn't get up at the same time that I did? How come they are not engaging and being around my family as much as I am? And so this comes up when it happens in the moment, but you didn't realize how important it was for you to talk to your spouse and say, hey, when we go here, it is really important for you to be at breakfast with us. I know you usually like to sleep in, but I would really love it if you actually took the opportunity and showed up to breakfast X amount of nights, whether it's 2, 3, depending on how long the stay is, right? So I would really love it if you actually partook in breakfast with us, because this is a family tradition. We kind of get together, we laugh and joke. It's just a really, really fun time to be around and with my family, and I want you to be a part of that because you're my family as well, right? So instead of you having a conversation like that because you didn't realize how important this unwritten rule was, now when you go and check on your spouse to see what they're actually doing, are they getting dressed, are they, getting ready to come and partake in the festivities, if you will, they're still in the bed snoring. And so you go in there and your reaction to him or her still sleeping is not the most pleasant, right? So you didn't realize that this was one of your rules until it got broken. So you should stay if there's a modicum of change, because that is something that you guys are going to have to work through. The third reason why you should stay is because this difficulty that's in your relationship, this difficulty that is in your marriage, is only going to bring you two closer, and it's going to help you have a better understanding of who your spouse is, what their needs are. Can you actually meet their needs? Are you willing to meet their needs? It's going to give you a clearer picture of the woman or man that you're lying next to, that you decided to share your life with. So that's the third reason why you should stick around. It's going to make you stronger. It really is. The fourth reason is because your partner or spouse is they're just testing you. Not that they're doing it on purpose, but they're really testing you to see if you have what it takes to stick around. Again, not necessarily that they're doing it on purpose, but because I brought up the environmental change, and there may even be some cultural differences, that I have some cultural differences in my own marriage. And so sometimes when those surface, right, I have to remember, because I can only take responsibility for who I am and how I show up and how I react, right? And then my husband has to do the same thing. He has to take responsibility for all his stuff. I cannot take responsibility for how he's showing up to me, and he cannot take responsibility for how I am showing up for him, right? So if there's something that I need to go and speak to him about and say, hey, babe, I really didn't like it when you did whatever it is that we're discussing. It made me feel like I would really wish that you wouldn't do this because, right? So I'm filling in all of those blanks, making it plain. I'm not blaming. It's just, it is what it is. It's factual information that I'm bringing to him, right? And then maybe he gets defensive. And maybe he says that what I'm saying to him is hogwash, and he is just not going to change, and I can suck it up and do whatever it is that I feel that I need to do with the information, but I need to accept him for who he is and how he is. And so basically the conversation did not go as I expected, right? But then maybe, just maybe, he decides to come back and say, you know what? Yeah, that was messed up, what I said or what I did. Or maybe he doesn't have a conversation with me at all. Maybe it's just in his actions. And so now he's showing up differently with that thing that we discussed. And again, it might not be this major blown out, like I'm going to do everything the way that she said it, right, to make her feel good. But me, because I'm paying attention to his actions, I'm paying attention to how he's reacting to me, I'm paying attention to the things that I mentioned to him, and if he's willing to change for me, because maybe I felt disrespected, maybe I felt unloved, maybe I felt like I wasn't getting enough attention in this particular area. And so I'm watching to see how he's showing up, because we teach our spouses, we teach our partners how to treat us, and especially our husband and wives, because unfortunately, when we have relationships that are really close like that, we have a tendency to hurt one another easily. We have a tendency to take our frustrations and anger out on our spouses versus the people, or the people that it was really meant for, and it's usually out in the world. but they bring that anger, they bring that frustration home to us. And so instead of them saying, hey, I need to decompress, I need to gather my thoughts, I need some me time, let me just chill out, the attitude. You witness the attitude. I witness the attitude. I witness the frustration. And then it comes out very ugly. Yeah. So it doesn't come out nice, soft, beautiful, understanding, apologetic. It's more of, so, whatever. I don't care. So you need to watch the actual actions, because you and your partner, which is number 5, the last thing, you are not going to change and shift and even grow at the same speed. And I know that that is something that most people would really wish would happen, but it's just not the case for most couples. You're not growing, shifting, changing. Your eyes are not opening up to what's really there versus the world that you're used to being there right in front of your face. So you're not going to grow, shift, and change at the same time. Usually. It's usually separate. And most couples, there's usually one person in the relationship that grows faster than the other party. And so it's not that he or she is not going to grow, but they're going to grow slower than you would even like, but also slower because of their world and life experiences. And so maybe they had a lot of things to happen to him or her, right? A lot of things just happened to him or her that it was always unfortunate. Maybe they have trust issues, can't trust anybody. Everybody is out to get them, it seems. And so that's their world view. And so unfortunately, they put you in the same box as they put everybody else. And so as much as they should not be testing you, they should have trusted you by this point, because maybe you guys are married or engaged or just in a long-term relationship. You still should not be having these issues or problems, but you will continue to have them until you or your spouse actually gets help and figures out and even notices that the world should not be put in one box, because everybody is not the same. So now, what are you going to do? If you're in this situation right now, what are you thinking that you should do? Should you stay? Should you go? If you need some help deciding, because like I said, at the end of the day, you're going to have to decide for yourself. But I can help you reach that decision. I can help you see the pros and cons. I can also help you see what you're doing wrong, because a lot of times we're pointing the finger. It's always our spouse. It's always their spouse. It's always our spouse. And that's usually not the case. It's usually something that you're participating and doing as well. But if you need help understanding what you're doing wrong, if you need help reaching that pivotal point of what's right, what's wrong, what am I doing right, how can I get some help, then reach out to me. Send me an email at marshaun@MarshaunOlanio.com, or go to my website, www.MarshaunO.com, and set up your appointment today so we can have this discussion, so I can get you from where you are, which is stuck, to where you want to be, which is unstuck. Feeling love, feeling heard, feeling understood, and understanding more about the changes that occur and the pace that they occur at in your relationship. I'm MarshaunO Lanio, your favorite life and relationship strategist, and I help women that are married or in long-term relationships to stop feeling disconnected and unloved and shift them to feeling appreciated, heard, and understood. I love you guys. There's nothing that you can do about it, and I will talk to you very, very soon. Bye.